One reason that tubes rule is that they work on really high voltages. And so you've got high voltage, you've got high headroom, and that means if you're driving something really hard, think about your guitar amplifiers and how good they sound when you drive them into overload. They clip very gracefully. They're not abrupt sounding when you're pushing them to their limits. Tubes are also super friendly for us to work with because the kind of components that surround them, like when you're working with high impedance circuits, which often these things are, you need a very low value capacitor to couple into the next stage. And so those capacitors can be very good sounding capacitors, like nice film capacitors that sound better than like an electrolytic capacitor. Some of the technology surrounding the vacuum tubes can lend themselves to be, better sounding in the end. Transformers go along with tubes quite often, and you'll see that in our circuits. You'll see input transformers and output transformers. And these, in recording world, can help create a sound. They can create a big and beefy sound. So sometimes the sound of a unit is not necessarily just the tube itself. It can be the associated componentry. Tubes are not inherently noisy themselves. People think of that sometimes, but the better power supply that we give these tubes and the more careful selection process that we employ in the factory to cull out the noisier offenders, which it's easy because they just plug in. You're not stuck with what was soldered into the PC board. You can unplug a noisy tube and put a quiet one in there. And then we can select like the best tube for that circuit out of many. And then that other tube was good for that other circuit, And that's why tubes rule.